The previous session we have discussed about super keyword, final keyword, next exception handling. Exception handling. What is meant by exception handling? We'll see. Exception handling. What is meant by exception? What is meant by exception? Exception is nothing but runtime error. So we have discussed error. Error is nothing but mistake. Error is mistake. Three types of errors we have discussed. Three types of errors we have discussed in the beginning sections. What are the three types of errors? One is syntax error or compile time error. Compile time error. And the second one is runtime error or execution time error. Logical error. Three types of errors we have here. Three types of errors we have. Syntax error or compile time error. What is meant by syntax error? Syntax error is nothing but if we are not following any grammatical rules of the particular programming language, it is going to be give the error. In our program, in our Java program, grammatical rules will be each and every statement of Java has to be terminated with a semicolon. If I am opening one curly brace to represent a block, definitely we should close that curly brace. Definitely we should close that curly brace. So that should be happen. Here now with the syntax, if we are not following that, we'll be getting the syntax error. But runtime error is not like that. Syntactically, there is no mistake. Tactically, there is no mistake. As per the rules, it is given correctly. It is given correctly. Based on the input we have provided to it. Based on the input we have provided to it, it may raise the error during execution of the program. See here. Grammatically or as per syntax, programming language, there is no error. But when we are executing the program, when we executing the logic or program based on the input provided, sometimes it may raise error called runtime error, also known as exception. Logical error in a sense, mistake in the logic. This is mistake in logic. Syntax error is nothing but as per the programming language, we have to follow the, otherwise we'll get the error. Otherwise we'll get the error. Exception demo 1. Public static void main I'll take here. See here, first I'm going to be take two numbers and I'm going to be divide those two numbers. First I'm taking two numbers. One number I'm dividing with other number. Dynamically have to take scanner class. Here, instead of scanner class, even you can use a buffer reader. Scanner class, even you can read, you can use buffer reader concept. What we have discussed in the previous sessions, you can use it. We have to import the related package. Okay. I'll be declaring one variable n1 and variable n2 with result. Okay. Now enter two integers or enter two integer numbers, two numbers of enter two numbers. So I'll be asking, see, now n1 is hc dot next int, n2 is hc dot next int. See, we are reading the two integer values, one into n1 and other one into n2. Okay, and here now we have to take the division operation. So performing the division operation is n1 divided by n2. N1 divided by n2. See here, division, division. Division result. Okay. Now, see, syntactically, there is no mistake in the program. If I miss this, we'll be getting the error. That error is called as syntax error or compile time error. Because, see, we have missed the semicolon. In the Eclipse IDE, if you are getting the red color underline, which will represent as that is a syntax error, which is going to be reported during compilation, Because of that, we are going to be say that is a compile time error. If I miss this, we'll be getting the error. So this is also represented with red color. See, we are going to be get it. Now what will happen here? If we execute, I'm providing the numbers and 2. Division result is 5. Now the program is executing successfully. This program is executing successfully. See, it is asked us to provide the two numbers. Have provided 10 and 2. We got the result as 5. So it has been divided 10 with 2. We got the result as 5. So syntactically there is no mistake. And when we are executing the program also, there is no mistake here. There is no mistake. How will come to know there is no mistake? We are getting the error. Sorry, we are getting the expected result, expected output we are getting. So because of that, we can say there is no error in the code. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, again, I'll run the same code. I'm saying that execution time error or dynamic error or runtime error, which is called as exception, occurs during the execution of the program based on the input we have provided to it. Based on the input we have provided here. See, now 10, other number I am going to be give 0. When a number is dividing with the 0, definitely it is going to be raise the error, divide by 0 error, that is called as exception. It is going to be raise the exception. The exception in thread main. What is this thread? Why we are going to be called this thread main? We will discuss in the coming sessions multi-threading concept. There we will discuss what is a thread and all everything we have to will discuss. See, java.lang.java is a package. In that, lang is a subpackage. Arithmetic exception, divide by 0. This is a exception. This is a arithmetic exception. This is a arithmetic exception. See, logic what we have written is correct. Logic what we have written here is correct. In the previous example, I have provided the two input numbers, that is 10 and 2. We got the result perfectly. But when we are writing the same code, when we are executing the same code, based on the input we are providing to it. So previously, we have given 10 and 2, 10 and 5, any number. So it is going to be divided perfectly. But one number I have given 10 and the other number if I am giving 0, that is based on input. Sometimes it is going to be raise the exception, that is runtime error. So now when we are dividing a number with the 0, we are getting the exception called as arithmetic exception divide by 0. Arithmetic exception divide by 0. Okay. So now see, what will happen if it raises an exception? After providing the input only, it is going to be raise the exception. What will happen if it raises an exception? Does it happen anything? Does it happen anything? When it is raising an exception, does it will happen anything disturbance to our program, or it will interrupt to our program? Yes, definitely. Whenever it is raising an exception, it will interrupt the program execution flow, and it will not make the remaining statements or the rest of the program execution. It will not make the rest of the program execution. See, when this statement is executing, enter two numbers, have entered the number 10, have entered the number 5. So then it is going to be give 10 divided by 5 will be getting the 2 as a result. The 2 is going to be assigned to the result. Now here system.out.println we have given for displaying the division result. We have given this for displaying the result. Okay, fine, it is going to be display the division result. Division result is equals to 2, it is display. But instead of that, here if I am providing the number as 10 and if I am providing the number as 0, when we are trying to divide a number with a 0, when we are trying to divide a number with a 0, then it is going to be raise the exception here. When it raises the exception here, this statement will not execute because it will interrupt the execution flow. Actually, it will start the execution from here and it is going to be declare the variables. It is going to be accept the two numbers n1 and n2 and it is going to be perform this step. So here, if it is raising any exception, then it is not going to be execute this statement. It is not going to be execute this statement. It means here it is going to be interrupts the program execution flow and it is not going to be execute the rest of the statement. Okay. This is one case where we are getting the exception. The other case where we are getting the exception, we'll see. There are different cases where we'll be getting the exception. We will discuss. Declaring array int a is the array name, and I have given the size as 5. And I have given the size as 5. Int I is a variable, because I'm going to be use this I in assigning the in accessing the values of the particular position. See, elements in the array. So just I'm using for loop int I, because index is going to be start with I less than 5, I plus plus. That is I increment. Now I'll be displaying the value of k of I. Value of k of I. Okay, it is going to be print. Now see, I'll be providing here static initialization will be giving static initialization of value to a variable, static initialization of values to a variable. See, here 0 position I'll be giving as 10. Here 1 position I'll be giving as 20. Here 2 position I'll be giving as 30. Here 3 position 40. Here 4 position 50. Okay. Now, whenever I'm executing this, we are getting the output exactly as what we have expected. Elements in the array. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We have given. Now, when we are giving, see, here array size is 5 in a sense. Array size we have taken as 5. Array size we have taken as 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 positions is going to be total element. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, it is going to be store the elements. When we have given the size of array as 5, it will store the elements 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth element, if I'm trying to, it is going to be raise an exception called as array index out of bounds exception. Array index out of bounds exception. 5. Just I'll be giving 60 here. I'll be giving 60. Array index out of bounds exception. Array index out of bounds exception. See here, we are getting index out of bounds for length 5. We have the length 5 and we got the out of range exception. Like that, different cases we have where we'll be finding the exceptions, where we'll be getting the exceptions. See here, So here it is given as the exception. This will raise. Okay. So that is where we are getting the exception. Here, if it is getting the exception, it will stop the execution flow of the program. This particular statement, sorry, when an exception occurs here, remaining statements will not execute. Program interruption occurs. Okay. So remaining statements is not going to be executed. When in this particular statement, we are getting the exception, remaining statements, it is not going to be executed. Here also, in this particular case, based on the input we have provided, it is raising any exception. It is not going to be execute the remaining statement. It will interrupt the program execution flow and it will stops execution. So for that, what we have to do, we have to handle that exception. Now this is an exception, right? This is the exception, right? So when exception occurs, we have to handle that exception. Exception handling. Exception handling. We are going to be handle the exception by using 5 keywords: try, catch, finally, throw, throws. By using this, we are going to be handle the exception. All are lowercase letters only. All are lowercase letters. So we have to discuss the examples for this. How to handle the exception with it. Okay. Now see here. How to handle the exception we will discuss.